HARK, we are here. It is time for yet another episode of Star Wars Unlimited. We are continuing our Shadows of the Galaxy set reviews with top cards. Remember, this is not a tier list. Tier lists are bad. They don't encourage discussion in the community based upon the decisions that people make. Not saying the people who make tier lists are bad, just tier lists themselves are bad. This day, today, the day that we're making this video for you, the Star Wars Unlimited viewer, is going to be cunning. That was a lot of words to describe something that didn't need to be described that way. Let's get right to it. We're going to start here with a pair of units that I think are actually going to be the most impactful in their rarity and range. We've got Forlom here, 4 cost, 4/4 ambush. Each friendly unit named Zakus gets +1/+1 and ambush. Then we have Zakus, who's a 5 cost, 6/6 Saboteur. Each friendly unit named Forlom gets +1/+1 and Saboteur. So together you've got a 5/5 Forlom and a 7/7 Zakus, both with ambush and Saboteur. A nice 1-2 punch of being able to get stuff in there. Forlom can ambush and take out something that's not going to kill him in return, and hopefully he survives into the next round, so you can ambush your Zakus into whatever you need to do, clearing out an opponent's non-sentinel unit because you do have Saboteur or something that has a bunch of shields on it. Defeat those, then defeat the unit if you have enough power to do so. This is going to be really good in Bounty Hunter decks. These are going to be really good in Underworld decks. They're just solid cards for what they do, and a common really cool thing that happens in games is the 1-2 punch of the first card in a combo and the second card in a combo. And the way our games work, it's generally going to be done across 2 different rounds, but cool stuff nonetheless. And if somehow you can get one of these into play for free, you're banking pluses all day, right? I think these two are some of the more powerful units you're going to see, and especially given their uncommon rarity, you're going to see them more often. So pay attention to when your opponent deploys that Forlom, because Zakus is not that far behind. Next up, we have Dredin Voss, 7 cost, 5/7 shielded, so he's protected from damage a little bit. When played, choose a captured card guarded by a unit you control. You may play it for free under your control. Dredin is the average 2-for-1 play as long as you're doing capture shenanigans, which Cunning can do very much with its Underworld and its Bounty Hunter cards. Coming into play shielded means that it's not going to be taken out by damage-based effects easily. You can rivals fall it, yada yada blah blah. But at 7 cost, being able to potentially get 2 units down on the board is incredible. If you start your round capturing one of your opponent's units, and then your next action is to Dredin Voss, so long as that captured unit still is on your side of the board, boom, there's your 2-for-1. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Kira here, 4 cost, 3/5 Underworld. When played, look at an opponent's hand, then name a card. While this unit is in play, each card with that name costs 3 more for your opponents to play. Don't forget that this exists. If your opponent is playing Cunning Heroism and you think that this is coming down on the board, make sure you get out the stuff you want to get out before she does, because otherwise she's going to say, hey, that piece of removal that's very important for your strategy, goodbye, it costs 3 more, and now you're never going to be able to see it. Anything that's a high cost basically becomes unplayable. Anything that's a low cost basically becomes a mid-game card. This is a very dangerous card, and it doesn't actually even need to name a card that's in your hand. If your opponent plays this against you and you don't have the key card, let's say For a Cause I Believe in your hand, they could just say, For a Cause I Believe in, and now it costs 6, much like the Regional Governor is able to do just without looking at your opponent's hand. So beware, these effects are very strong. This could be a main deck card, it could be a side deck card. It's going to be something that you're going to see is if your opponent is playing Cunning in basically any of the heroism decks. We have the Millennium Falcon, 6 cost, 5/6 Underworld Vehicle Transport. If you play it from your hand, it gains ambush, but if you play it from your resource pile, it costs the same. So you're not really losing out on anything. You're just deciding if you want to be able to ambush with this card or not. As an uncommon, you're going to see this a lot. Thankfully, a Falcon that is an uncommon and not a legendary is a welcome concept to be able to give us something cool at a lower rarity without having to chase down $50 cards. Next, we have a new adventure. 2 cost, return a non-leader unit that costs 6 or less to its owner's hand. Then its owner may play it for free. If you need to get rid of something your opponent has that is going to attack and defeat you in a turn, you can new adventure it as long as the when play isn't relevant. It just comes back into play exhausted. If you need to protect something of yours that has a bunch of damage on it that you want to get that damage off, whoop, that's your hand, put it into play. If there's a when played that you really want to be able to see again, bloop, bloop. This is actually a pretty interesting combination card with Forlom and Zakus. This is a very strong card for 2 cost. Thankfully, it does have the limit of 6 cost or less, so you're not going to be seeing anything like a Finalizer doubled or an Avenger doubled or a Devastator doubled. But what this can do is still very, very strong. Speaking of very, very strong double cunning cards, we have Final Showdown, a 6 cost double cunning. Ready each unit you control. At the start of the regroup phase, you lose don't play this card if you're going to lose the game. But if your opponent is cleared off the board, they have no responses, they have no resources, or they've taken the initiative, and you can win, you play Final Showdown, ready all your stuff, attack, and win the game, and your opponent just goes, what happened? How did I lose? And you lost because you weren't paying attention. Final Showdown is a very strong card, but as a Gambit event, it is a gamble, and you have to make sure that you have the guaranteed win to be able to use this. So effectively, don't gamble on this. Make sure you're using it at a point where you're guaranteed the win. Otherwise, you're going to be sad when you lose. We have MClunky, 1-cost Underworld trick here. Return a friendly non-leader Underworld unit to its owner's hand. If you do, deal 3 damage to a unit. Keep cycling your Greedos. Sure, it's not going to stick around for a whole long time, or cycle something else like, say, Salacious Crumb, so you can keep doing MClunky BS and dealing damage to your opponent's units. Notably, not specifically a ground unit, so if there's a troublesome space unit that's got 3 health or less, MClunky one of your Underworld units back to your hand, deal the 3 damage, and then replay your unit, and you're fantastic. Our last card here is our big capture card for Cunning, Relentless Pursuit, 3 cost, choose a friendly unit. It captures an enemy non-leader unit that costs the same or less than it. If the friendly unit is a bounty hunter, give it a shield token. 3 cost, capture something that costs less than a unit you control. If that unit happens to be a bounty hunter, give it a little bit of protection. This is a fantastic card. You're going to see a lot of use of this, and you're going to have to focus a lot of effort on trying to clear that unit off the board to be able to get your captured unit back, which is why Relentless Pursuit is so good. And those are your Cunning cards for Shadows of the Galaxy. There you have it. We've got Cunning, a lot of very strong cards coming out of Cunning. There's other things that are really good, but those are basically just my top choices, because if we were going over every single card, we'd be here for hours, and you don't want that. I don't want that. My voice is already getting tired, and this is only the 3rd video I've had to record today. So without any further ado, like and comment on this video. Let me know what your favorite Cunning card is, what your favorite Cunning leader is, and how those combinations work for you moving forward into Shadows of the Galaxy. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel for all your lovely Star Wars Unlimited needs. We've only got a couple more of these we got to crack out. We've got, I believe it is Vigilance next, and then Heroism and Villainy after that. And then we'll be finished with the Aspect reviews. So thank you very much for joining me, everybody. I appreciate each and every one of you. And with that, I will see you in the stars.